Hey Scorpio, welcome to your reading for the month of April. I know this is coming out a little bit late. I hope you're doing very well. Last couple months of the North Node or South Node in your sign, you do have one final eclipse coming up in May. So around this month, especially toward the end of April, you might really start to sense something falling away from you, something that you've been involved with. And it could have been very short term as well. I mean, maybe it just came up during your eclipse season and now it's falling away again. But typically when we have a lunar eclipse in our sign, we do experience some kind of goodbye. It is a loss. It is a goodbye. It is a shedding. It could be anything from getting a new cell phone to quitting a major project, to changing a job, to breaking up a relationship. There's a lot of turnover that happens. And so I think that in the next, like I said, end of April, definitely into May, you're going to start to feel some of those things falling away. But it's okay. It's clear. It's the final clearing. Just a little bit more astrologically speaking before we get into the cards, because I feel it's really important. Your eclipse in May serves a very important purpose. This purpose is to clear, give the final clearing, bring everything to the ground, so to speak, and just, bring it all back to that same level, that clearing, that digestion, that letting go of Scorpio energy, or I should say, not of Scorpio energy, but that is what the energy does. There is some kind of letting go. And this could also be letting go of bad habits, bad thing, right? Like, it's not just the good things. It's also like you have to maybe make a conscientious effort to let go of certain things that are just really not in line with you anymore. And it can be hard to admit those things. Like, it can be hard to, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm feeling this anymore. And like, that's, if you're not feeling it, like, right? Like, that's kind of, it's over. So you're coming in to clear things, and then we're going to move into Libra, Aries eclipses in July. The nodes will change from Scorpio, Taurus into Aries, Libra, and that will create balance. Like, Libra is the great balancer, and these nodes will help us see and understand self versus other. And because Saturn's in Pisces, there's going to be some reality checks about sacrifice, surrender. So the next few years are very much about self versus other. What am I willing to do for the greater good? Well, what am I willing to do for others versus what do I need to do for myself? So there could be a reclamation of self if you've been giving up too much. Let's just pull some cards. I just wanted to get that out there because I want you to understand that these changes are necessary, and I know that they're not always easy, but I understand, and things will keep moving along, and there will be some kind of balancing effect. Just try to always take what you can learn from something. Okay, so Scorpio coming up in April. Scorpio. What season are you in? Very defiant one. Yeah, the mountain, the way that card flipped over, I was like, that is defiant. So, requires a lot of strength. Mountains symbolize strength because of how they're formed, but they also, so like, what has made you, this intense pressure over time, this movement, this subtle movement, to suddenly this great force that we see today. The strength of the weather around mountains, the strength of people who live near mountains, right? To endure those harsh weathers. The strength it takes to climb a mountain, the strength it takes to want to accomplish some kind of feat, and once you're at the top to realize, okay, now I've got to turn around and go back down, to get the humility to get yourself back down to ground level. There's a lot of meanings to the strength that you have this month. And mountain can represent some kind of difficulty. It can represent that you need a boost of extra strength to get through this. So are you trying to climb the mountain? Are you trying to barrel your way through it? Are you detonating along the way and blowing up a path for yourself? What is really in your arsenal to help you climb this? What are you trying to get out of it? What does this mountain mean to you? It may feel insurmountable. Can you climb it? Does it feel like it's too big for you? Let's get some major arcana to see Okay, the Hanged Man. You know what I heard for this? Someone else has the strength to fight for you. Let someone else, the Hanged Man, it's meant to happen. Because it feels now like we've hit some kind of standstill. Kind of feels like the Wild West, like the you're enduring something that requires sacrifice. You've had to surrender something. You've had to go quiet. You've had to just sort of give up and let it be, right? Let it be what it's going to be. Let the time pass. Let things fall into place. So this month, perhaps you're starting to see, maybe you've already been in a state of suspension or surrender, and you've started to see some of the answers. But this delay continues into this month. And it's like, oh, new information is revealed, or oh, there's something else that we realized. Like, someone is really investigating. Someone is going, not just looking from the top down, like they are turning things upside down and looking under every single surface. Like, what about this? Like, I feel like there's kind of a challenger here. Is it you? Is it something you're up against? Is it someone fighting for you? But I have to stress this, like the mountain, like the Hanged Man, your goal and your position this month is one of inaction. It's what I would advise just from the cards so far, because new information something is being formulated behind the scenes. Changes are taking place. Even if you stood there and tried to fight it or tried to control the outcome, it's not going to work. Something much bigger is at play here, and you might feel helpless or victimized perhaps by that. But this is just so much bigger than I think what you could maybe control or handle right now. And as much as we see Scorpio as an incredible sign of strength, I sometimes you have to admit that you just don't have the strength for something, and it's just like, I'm just gonna lay low. Maybe it takes a lot of strength to not get involved, but your job, and this is where your skills actually come in, Scorpio. You are good at just observing and doing the intense research, especially with Scorpio being on the South Node. Or South Node in Scorpio, that is incredibly detail-oriented. It's about research, analysis. The bouquet. Yeah, something is fleeting. It's like the way this little bouquet is just floating by on a cloud. Now, it could represent a gift. We don't talk about this enough, like the definition of strength, it takes a lot of strength to let go. It takes a lot of strength to not fight, to surrender, to just have the patience to let things turn over, or to just observe, right? Like, it requires a lot of patience. And what the bouquet is like what you've been waiting to see. And then suddenly, because you've been patient, there it goes. There's something you've been waiting to see. For some of you, I'm hearing northern lights. You could actually be traveling and witnessing some beautiful phenomena. But this fleeting moment is like, you really have to get quiet and just wait and observe. You might want to set up a camera somewhere to do that work for you, perhaps. I don't know if you can sit and like wait, but like time-lapse, like that's big. That's big this month. You will capture what you want to capture. You will see what you want to see. But it might not be till the end of the month. Taurus season, but I'm reading for Scorpio. Scorpio. the world, it all becomes revealed. It all... Saturn in Pisces. This is Saturn in Pisces. Which brings great artistry, care. But it will be concluded, okay? It will be concluded by the end of the month, or shortly thereafter. What is the card of advice for me this month? What practical action should I take? The Eight of Wands. The world is also saying that there's something bigger than just you. And that can be frustrating because you might feel like you're not coming first, or your needs aren't being considered first, but it can also help you understand that there's many others in that same boat. So that kind of gives power to whatever you're dealing with. Now, for some of you, you have international travel. You've got like websites or being very visible, your visibility, your connections, your networks. It's time for you to start branching out and connecting to other people. The connectors, something is firing, something is connecting here. The Eight of Wands, there's some kind of launch. But what I kind of hear is that it's like patiently waiting for something to finish so that you can then go. So there might be a place you want to visit or a person you're trying to connect to, but maybe there's a lot going on there and you have to wait. Bouquets for loved ones. You know, I really see the presence of guardian angels here. I see the presence of spirit, and those, if you're, you know, if there's someone that you miss, their energy is around. You could have a lot of unexplainable, again, Hanged Man, like that mysterious, like a lot of unexplainable phenomena happening around you. But that Eight of Wands is release. It's shooting the arrows out into the world, because there's something over here that's available and ready for connection, and the Eight of Wands is reaching that. So why the delay? Why the delay then? If my advice is to take action, why is the Hanged Man here? Have I just been punishing myself? Why is the Hanged Man here? The Queen of Wands. So there could be a fire sign woman involved, very dynamic personality. Maybe there's a person who needs to be front and center, and maybe they've always made you feel stomped over just because they had a louder personality, or they were like in this race, they were always trying to come first, they were racing. There's like, for some reason, this... It feels, this is a person who knows what they want. And they're going to tell you what to do. They're going to tell you how to treat them. They're going to tell you what to do. They will put you to work. And so maybe this person, because they've been very direct with what they want, it has then helped you understand what you want, because maybe in the Hanged Man you didn't know what you wanted. But this Queen of Wands is like, well, this is what has to happen. This is what has to happen. It can't just be transient. It's not just a bouquet. Like, you need to be present. I don't think we talk enough about how much Scorpios sacrifice for love, at least from what I've seen. Certainly there can be some harsh ones out there, but like any sign, I mean, a lot of you sacrifice or put yourself on hold for love. But there is power in being slightly moldable. Like, you don't want to be so rigid that you're just stuck in your ways and no one can get in. Like, you're not a suit of armor. You know, there's a person under there. So there's a beating heart. There's a beating heart under there. Reconnecting to that heart. Strength, Leo. Now we have Leo energy coming through. Leo, I get August for the Eight of Wands. And so this could also indicate maybe not action right now, but maybe just in the future. Because something does have to, I will say that again, something does have to wrap up first before you can take this action. But some of you are wanting to take a trip or travel or connect to people in different parts of the world or launch a website. And there's something, you've been holding on to something, building a little mountain behind you of details or resources or something, and now it's time to launch it. You know, maybe you've just been batching a lot of stuff, and now that you've reached a point where you've got enough material, now you can launch it because you've got something sustainable, or it'll flow for a long time. The bouquet is important here because it is transient, so it does warn us about something that could just be temporary. So what do we do to ensure longevity? Well, we either wait until we've built up enough, and then we do it, or we decide to be present constantly and constantly putting out, and that can be exhausting. So it just depends on what your MO is. What does Scorpio need to know this month? What do I need to know? What is the most important thing that I need to know this month? Five of Wands. There is a little bit of competition. And that's why the Queen of Wands could be the competition, or she could be the one urging you along. Like, you could have that Queen of Wands energy within you of confidence, to just let this entertain you, but don't get involved. Like, let it amuse you. But I feel like you're just removing yourself. And it's interesting, like, she's holding the flower from the bouquet. Has someone been overdoing it? Like, maybe she doesn't want the whole bouquet. Maybe she just wants a flower. Just one thing, one focus, one... So, like, let's say, I don't know what this means to you, Scorpio, but let's say you buy a bouquet, or you have a bouquet, so your resources, you've got 12. You give one to the Queen of Wands, and then you send the rest out into the world, like you donate. There's such selflessness here. Maybe you get a sum of money and you give some of it to a woman that you care about, or you do something nice for yourself, for your appearance. Maybe you get your hair done, or you get a little treatment or something, but then the rest is like donated or sent out. There's fast movement. So, like, right now it's heavy and it's slower, but it's going to really pick up in your partnership season, in Taurus season. And what you need to know with the Five of Wands is there's going to be lots of little distractions along the way, lots of little weeds propping up in the garden, things that are going to test you test your stamina, test your, like, are you here? Are you committed? Can you handle these little squabbles, right? When you start to get a lot of people, like, things are going to ramp up this month, Eight of Wands. They're going to really ramp up. It's going to be cataclysmic. It's going to be one after the other. And it just depends how much this is worth to you. Because these little detours, these little hiccups along the way, these little frustrations, we can handle that. You know, like, they're annoying in the moment, but you get home finally, and then the day's done, and you're like, okay, relief, and that feels good. Now, if this goes on every day, day in, day out, you cannot put up with that day in, day out. So let's hope this behavior is just passing. But if it turns out to be more of a permanent character, then I don't know if you can stay here. I'm getting a message for some of you to start. You might find something online, like a really good workout regime, or something from a different culture, something that is kind of far from you geographically, but it resonates deeply in the heart. And it's going to help you strengthen yourself. 5 of Wands can be the necessary catharsis of working out or having, being on a sports team, and like it's aggressive, but like everyone has a role to play, and it's aggressive, it's cathartic to have that little bit of aggression, right? Like especially in Aries and Taurus season, to just get a little, the ram horns or the bull horns, like getting a little headstrong and like feisty with it. That can be really, that can feel really good to like let that rage out, in that positive way. So like working out, playing in a band, playing sports, doing something active that is very physically cathartic for you. You haven't been able to. There's something that's been on hold. I feel like the Hanged Man energy is passing. I don't think it's the whole story for the whole month. I think it's something you're dealing with as we come into the reading. I'm recording it April 3rd, so beginning of April, and then as the month goes on, it kind of fades off. So interesting reading. I'm just going to leave it there. If you want a personal reading, I'd love to read your cards. I'm smelling crayons. It could be from the candle wax, but something about crayons could be related to you. Anyway, Scorpio, yeah, personal readings are linked below. I'd love to read for you. I'll see you soon.